Hey guys, welcome back. This is the final video in the Flappy Bird tutorial series. Um, as you can see, I've changed a lot of the graphics in this is sort of the final version of the game. Uh, Basically, I just made the character, one of my characters from one of my other games. And I just cleaned up, made a new background, I think this is a new ground as well, but made it look a lot better. So it was a lot of tweaking, and I didn't want to show that in a tutorial video. Everything that's here I pretty much already showed you before, so I figured I wanted to finish up the series, but I didn't want to go. I don't want to go into show you all the little tweaking and stuff that goes along with making video games. So here's the sort of final version that's available on my Git repository. So another thing I added is I added the sounds. So it's a very simple thing to do. So I'll walk through how to do that. And the other thing was I saved the high scores. So how to save data, basically how to save the highest score that the user got. So I'll walk through those in this final video, and yeah, I think that's all I'm going to cover here. So for the sounds, it's very simple. Basically, all you do is you add these sound objects which come from LibGDX. So I put them in the assets class, just because sounds are in assets, just like texture regions and all the other stuff we have here. And basically, you name them whatever you want. Down here, you initialize them with this GDX method, new sound, and then you point it to the sound file. It's just an MP3 somewhere. It's in your Android folder, assets, sounds. They're just right there. And then you have to dispose them in the dispose method. So make sure, I think we've already got this set up. The dispose method gets called anytime the GDX application stops. And I added these methods that basically just play the sound. So these are static methods that can be called anywhere in the program. So whenever whenever the player dies, we'll say assets.play_die_sound, and it'll play the sound. And why I did it like that was basically in the final version that I actually released, I basically check for if sound effects is enabled, then you play it. Otherwise, you don't play anything. So it just makes it easy to basically, keep that logic in here so that you can just play the die sound from anywhere else in your program, and it'll check to see if the sound is enabled or not, and then play it. So that's super simple. Other than that, let's go on to the saving of data. So saved. So I made this. Basically, this is the way I do it. Is I make this class called Save Data Manager, and this is basically just a singleton class, which means it's just a fancy term for this class can only be instantiated one time. So there can only be one instance of this object, and basically you can just get it anywhere in your program. You can say this is a static method. You can say save data manager.getInstance. You'll get an instance of this class. It'll always be the same one, the same instance. And then I just have an example of how to, if you want to load all the data that's saved, you'll load it all into basically this class, which only has one piece of data that's being saved. This is just an example to get you guys started on how to do something like this, because it's very common. You want to save user data. This game just has one thing it's saving, it's just the high score. Other things that might be saved would be like music enabled, sound enabled, um, whatever else you wanted to save. If you want to make an RPG, you would have tons of stuff being saved in this class. So, but basically, I have my high score in this class. I'll call load. Let's see where I call load. Oh, it's not showing me for some reason, but maybe I don't call it anywhere. Save. So I call save in my pause method. So anytime the game pauses, which means basically, if you're playing the game on Android and you hit the home button, it'll pause the game, and basically it'll just save, call the save method, and save all the data that you want to save. In this case, again, it's just the high score, so I'll save the high score at that point. And I want to call it the load method when the game is initialized or resumed or started, and those are just the GDX callbacks. If I go here and look at my Flappy game, it's just this is like the main GDX class, and you'll have those callbacks that create, pause, dispose, and there's some other ones. Let's see, dispose, pause, resume, render, resize. Any of those methods, when you create, you load. When you pause, you save. It's just that simple, really. So when the game is brought up, you load the data from the saved file, load everything into the game, and then you'll know, did the user turn the sound off last time he was playing? What was his saved state the last time he was playing, and all that stuff. You can load all that in and access it. And basically, what else do I want to say about this class? This works for any platform. This is a GDX preference. You'll see basically the data is saved in this preferences object. Preferences object is it works on Android, iOS, desktop, whatever it is. It's a GDX thing. It's platform independent, so you don't have to write any platform specific code to do this. It'll work on when you're testing on desktop and Android. So basically, you just get the preferences, and the preferences is just how do I explain it? I guess you can just think of it as a place where the data is stored. And you can have multiple preferences if you want. You can have multiple preferences, and basically you just give it a key. In this case, I just named the key prefs. Doesn't really matter because I only have one preference object. I'll just get that object and then I'll store stuff to it, like so. Down here in the save prefs that put integer, you can put an integer into the preferences. You can put a boolean, or there's some other methods here, and then you hit flush, and that actually saves things. And then in the load method, you can get the preferences object through this GDX method again, and get the values that you're interested in. So that's about it. I actually released this game, and I'll bring it up really quick. So the release version is it's available for free, obviously. I did put an advertisement in it, and there was something else I did. Oh yeah, I put the leaderboards and stuff too. Doing that stuff, you have to write platform dependent code, so I didn't want to get bogged down in that for this tutorial. I could maybe do a video on just an example of how to do it, but it is kind of annoying to I felt that it would be annoying to make that put that in the video to go over that, because it's kind of a annoying process where you have to get different keys from Google AdMob and the keys for Google Play Game services. And I didn't want to put that. I didn't want to share that with everybody, because I don't know. It's just I don't know if it's something that's okay to share, I guess. So I decided to leave that out. But really, it's not much. I don't want to say that it's not much more, but the process is kind of a pain, and I don't know how much you would really be learning if I went through that. So anyways, this is the final version here. So you can download it if you want to. And yeah, I don't know what else I want to say about this. If you have any recommendations on what kind of video to do going forward, I haven't been working too much on another game. I have an idea I'd like to work on, but I haven't really decided what I want to do. I guess I can show you my other game that I made. Now this game I'm actually pretty proud of. It's pretty simple. I think it's a good idea. It's really the ideal game for, if you're one person and you're making a game, you really have to limit the scope on what you're going to take on. And this game is also very simple, but I think it's a lot of fun. And you can see this is where I get the graphics from, some of the graphics. So this game, you just, you tap to jump. And this is like the original version, which is really fast and it's hard to play. But basically you just keep going up and you try to get to 50 rubies. And it turns out this is very difficult. It's kind of funny when you're making a game, you play it a lot, you get really good at it, and you think it's pretty easy. I didn't want it to be too easy, but I wanted it to be doable. But it turns out a lot of people could not, just getting 4, like hardly anybody could do that. So, but yeah, I think it's pretty fun. A lot of people did like it, and it's probably the game that I'm most proud of so far that I've made. So I think I've started making like a sequel to this game, and I'm making it. I have all these ideas, and I started implementing them all, and I think I've sort of bitten off more than I can chew, because it's kind of become really huge and hard to feel like I'm making progress in it, because there's just so much I need to do left, and it kind of demotivates me. So I might start another smaller project or continue that, I'm not sure, but this is more of a hardcore game. So if you're into like it's heavily Super Meat Boy inspired, and if you're not into hardcore games, you might not like it. I did put it like a casual mode in it, where you can like buy like hats, and they'll give you like powers that make it a little bit easier to get to the top, and it has leaderboards and all that stuff too. So pretty fun game. It's free as well. It has advertisements, but hopefully they're not too annoying. So give it a shot. I think you'll probably like this one. I have some other games, but they're really not. I don't think they're as good. I made this game Hungry Bear. I think it's pretty fun. It's also a very simple game where you sort of Timberman inspired. If you ever played that game, you tap left or right. And see how you can make. One of my viewers actually helped me out with some graphics on this. He revamped the background and new fish and water. Did a really awesome job in the background too. So anyways, that's about it. So if you guys have any other questions or suggestions on what to do next, please let me know. And I'll see you guys eventually in the next video. All right, take care. Bye.